Into the 1960s, Jim Crow laws and Jim Crow etiquette was still very much existent in the southern states. Organizers of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, including Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., knew that they needed the support of legislators in order to pass laws to end racial segregation. To do this, they would need people from all over the country to be aware of what was going on in the South and push their legislators to do something about it. And so, Reverend James Bevel in Birmingham, Alabama, organized the Birmingham Children's Crusade. Instead of adults who faced harsh jail sentences and police brutality for protesting, over 5,000 Birmingham children marched towards City Hall to talk to the mayor about segregation. The law's response was brutal, and the Birmingham Commissioner of Public Safety, Bull Connor, ordered the police to use attack dogs, fire hoses, and batons on the children who were marching non-violently. Many children were arrested during the first march on May 2nd. They were then released and came back to march for a second time on May 3rd and were arrested again. All of this was caught on camera. People all over the country saw the brutality of the police response to non-violent protests against segregation. Even against innocent children, they were willing to use dogs and fire hoses, and the children were undeterred, coming back to protest again the next day. The Birmingham Children's Crusade called national attention to the issues of the segregated South. Before, President John F. Kennedy had been reluctant to introduce a civil rights bill because he needed the support of segregationist Southerners in Congress to pass his other laws. But after the Birmingham Children's Crusade, Kennedy became convinced that civil rights needed to be addressed.
We are confronted primarily with a moral issue. It is as old as the scriptures and is as clear as the American Constitution. The heart of the question is whether all Americans are to be afforded equal rights and equal opportunities. Whether we are going to treat our fellow Americans as we want to be treated.
The Crusade was a key factor in shifting the public and the federal government's attitude towards segregation from "that's just the way things are" to "this needs to be stopped." A year later, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was passed, and after that, the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Legal segregation in America was brought to an end, but it may not have been possible without the national attention and sympathy the civil rights movement found as a result of the Birmingham Children's Crusade in 1963.